Hey Rich, thanks for coming out. We're going to do a quick recap of your lesson here. Draw some lines that we've already talked about to judge movement, but you'll see pretty quickly that the lines will really not be needed to show what's a little bit out of whack here. So a lot of hip movement. I'm going to circle it in red. Messes with your balance a little bit in the backswing, and then head is again out in front of that lead line. So if we back this up real quick here, center of your head at address, and then that hip movement causes you working down and towards the ball. You said you fight a really low left ball flight. That's the reason. Chicken wing effect in that left arm because you don't have a lot of room to extend down the target line. This is another view of it. Whoops, I'm sorry. First, stay with the new tools, I guess. Draw a plane line here. Would like to see you ultimately a little closer to it. Like to see those hands underneath the shoulders. That works pretty well up to the top. And then that upper body, that head starts moving down and at the target, and that shifts those hands out and across, down and around. We went and built you a robot swing. You feel that club working in into the top. And then down and in. And this was really to get an idea of how the head is going to move in the downswing. Then I asked you to come over here and try to duplicate the feels that we had. So we had talked about adding a little bit more tilt at address, and it definitely looks like you have versus the beginning, versus that first swing. I could definitely see a little bit of tilt back behind the ball. Those hips are meant for dancing. So then I put you in one of my swing stations here to get a feel for going over the stick, under the stick, and the big idea in this is giving you the sensation of that extension down the target line out to the right. You can see your right arm, left arm structure is so different than before. There's absolutely no chicken wing in that at all. It's because you're working from in to out. And extending down the line. And we had you do it again without the station. There's your tilt. You kind of over manipulated it a little bit there, but I'll take it where I can get it. Still struggling with the hips to this point. And the head, because of it, is working down and in, and then you have to back out to hit it. You can see the chicken wing effect is starting to go away. So now I put an alignment rod back here and a piece of wood to give you something, to give you a feel basically. We talked about as the club gets swung back, turning or having the sense of your foot turning clockwise in your shoe to try to get rid of you getting outside that shoe or outside that shoe. So we put that stick in there, and you can see the hip movement is much less. The problem being now is Again, we want to see a little bit of space here at the top, or not have this hip leak past that sway line. Better setup, a little bit stacked left. Better turn. This is you practicing. This is exaggerated, and it is a drill only. But if we look at this at the top versus this guy, quite a bit different. And the idea here on the left was, get rid of that other guy, was to get the sense of, if your shoulders were in a line here, trying to get those shoulders over this ski, over the back ski. And you do a much better job there. That after picture versus, or that impact picture versus this impact picture are quite different. Another example of you trying to get a feel for it. Hip leaked. But you still got to the ball. Chicken wings almost gone. Extension through to the target. And comparison. First guy on the right. And again, we messed with a lot in this lesson, posture-wise, setup-wise. Guy on the right's the first guy that showed up. Guy on the left is the new man with the hips under control. Much better depth in the upper body. Shaft is going out. Club's starting to fall down the line on the left. Shaft steepens on the right. Shaft's staying in place on the left. Club head's outside the hands on the right. Again, hard to see, but this is the club head over here. So we can see that shaft is starting to exit a little more in that direction or closer to this top line versus low and left on the right. A lot of that has to do because of the chest and the hips and that feeling of that reverse loop that we did in, where is it? This jig, where we had you going over, under, and over. But great work today, Rich. Look forward to seeing you again.